Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another episode of Jacob Walks Over a Bridge. I'm Jacob. I'm currently walking over a bridge, and we were this close to this being an episode of Jacob Bikes Over a Bridge. Now, that probably makes more sense if you could see my hands or my fingers, because I'm holding them very close together, to indicate that it was, it wasn't that close. This morning, but earlier this morning, I joined the brotherhood of people who have biked in the city. Now, I bought a bike helmet last year from a bike shop in Hell's Kitchen that was closing, with the intention of joining City Bike at some point. That was going to be my entry into biking in the city. I wasn't sure if I was really ready to invest in a real bike for myself, at least just yet. I wanted to try doing City Bike first to get a handle for it, to see if it was something that I could keep up with. I thought I was going to join, because I bought the helmet about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. I have the receipt, I could check that later. But I bought the helmet a year ago thinking that I was going to, join around the summertime, something like that. Assuming there would be places to go, people to see. And there were places to go and people to see this summer. But I did not join it, City Bike. Sorry. So now I'm walking over the Manhattan Bridge. So I'm also now there's two trains coming by, and I wonder, because for the first time, I don't know why it took me this long. I guess because it sounds like, or I guess it looks less like I'm recording myself if I'm talking into a mic on the headphones. But this is my first time recording just straight into the phone. And I don't know how this will sound, if it's going to sound any different. It's a new phone I got. I don't know. I think this is my first episode since getting a new phone. So we'll give this good microphone a good run for its money. I mean, I've had phone calls with it already, but I haven't recorded myself walking over a bridge, let alone while there are trains going by. And that's the fun part about the Manhattan Bridge. But this is the bridge that made the most sense to walk over, because I'm on my way to DeKalb. Sorry, going to Atlanta for school ruined my pronunciation of DEKALB. I called it DeKalb up until about freshman year of college, and then you get into a cab and you say you're going to the South DeKalb Mall, and the the cab driver gives you a confused look. The cab? Yeah, they don't pronounce the L down there. So I'm going to the DeKalb. Did it again. The DeKalb Food Hall. And this just was the most convenient bridge to get there. But back to biking, which I don't talk about very often, but I had decided that I wanted to bike. So I did. And I waited for, I guess since a year ago, I've been acting under the assumption that I was going to do it eventually. But I've been more serious with those intentions over the last couple weeks. I was gauging what the best day to do it would be, because I wanted the first time I did it to be a low traffic day, and early on a Saturday morning seemed like the best bet. And for the most part, it was low traffic. I didn't want to have to worry my first time riding a bike in the city and have all the e-bikes zooming around me, trying to do deliveries, and people trying to get to work, or just out and about doing whatever they do on a regular day. But I did it. And the ride wasn't that long. I had, Lyft owns City Bike, which I think probably was a good investment on their part to compete with the other offerings that Uber has. But through Lyft, I think until at least the end of this year, they're doing promotion where your first 30 minutes on the bike were free. So I did that. And it was a good 30 minutes. I know I did like 26, because after about 20 minutes or so, I started to get antsy because I hadn't seen a city bike stall in a little while. So, sorry, I was just making sure I'm holding my phone up now to my head as if, now I can, I guess I can move it a little bit, but I was holding it as if I was having a phone call. And here comes another train. Let's do a test. This is the sound of my voice. Can you hear what I'm saying as the train is zooming past me? And the train never goes this fast when I'm on it. I guess that's a good thing. It's going to get past me a little sooner. And why'd I come over this bridge again? So I left my apartment this morning around 9 o'clock. Got on the city bike. It took me a little while to get my bearings. This is my first time riding a bike in maybe 7 years. More than that, maybe. I think the summer of 2015 may have been the last time I got on a bike. And thankfully, they don't say it's like riding a bike for nothing. It was just like riding a bike. Once you learn how to ride it, granted, a lot of things can go wrong in your life to make your body forget how to ride a bike. But thankfully, I still remembered how to ride a bike. Kept my balance for the most part. There was a little wobbly at first as I got my bearings. I went a little bit out of the way. I'm north of where I wanted to be, but north and west. But then, just as it worked out with traffic and whatnot, I ended up going further west just to get in the right state of mind, state of body to ride the bike. But I did it. I went from about 9th Avenue to 11th Avenue, over a couple blocks, then back down to 9th Avenue, went south a bit, then went east. I didn't get all, they only gave you a free half hour, and I think when you're not a member of City Bike, I think that's what they limit you before they start charging you extra. I probably should have read all the rules and the regulations of all the the fine print of City Bike's agreement before actually doing it. But I just did a 26-minute or so ride because I saw I was checking my watch. They don't, there's no timer on the bike, which would be kind of nice if they had. Like, maybe, I don't know if that's a distraction or not. Oh, here comes another one. But I was able to, after, like I was saying before, I keep getting distracted. After about 20 minutes or so, I was getting a little worried because I hadn't seen a stall in a little while, and I knew that I wanted to try to get max out my 30 minutes without going over. But, I still wanted to make sure I got the bike into a stall in time to make sure I didn't get charged extra. So I did that. If I had just gone straight from my apartment with a purpose to, down maybe, if I had found a place on, to go down Broadway, if I had done my research a little better, I could have signed on to a stall that was more convenient for where I wanted to go initially. But what are you going to do? I got a good ride. I only went about, the Lyft app said I only went about 1.5 miles in about 26 minutes. I went a little bit further if you consider the distance I went going west and then back east again. But And if I had just walked out of my apartment at the same time, I might have ended up at the same spot, all things considered. However, this was a good first step, and I think after the break, I might consider either getting a membership or using it more often anyway. I think that this was good to just, to, I don't know, what would you say, break the seal, or just to I want to say pop the cherry, but I don't know how appropriate that is. But, I did it for the first time, and it should be easier now that I've gotten the first ride out of the way. I had to, this morning I opened the box with the helmet in it for the first time. It's just been sitting in my apartment for a year unopened. Just, it was mocking me. Mocking my intentions. But I did it. It's over. And now I wish I had sunglasses. I guess I was so preoccupied with making sure I had my bike helmet with me that I didn't bring sunglasses. And I got nice new sunglasses on Black Friday. I guess I've been so conditioned to see any ad from Ray-Ban, whether an email or just something on social media. There's been so much spam and so many fake ads for it that you think that anything from Ray-Ban is fake. So it took a little bit of effort on my part to sift through my emails to make sure that what I was reading was accurate and real. But I ordered from Ray-Ban, got real Ray-Ban website, got real Ray-Bans. Oh, there's a helicopter. I don't know if you can hear that. But I got new sunglasses. The only problem, and I guess it'll probably be a perpetual problem until I ever get it fixed, but because my nose is a little crooked, I feel like, or at least when I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm giving myself a much more critical eye than someone on the street just passing me might, but I feel like my nose makes any pair of sunglasses look crooked. I guess maybe because they sit a little askew on my face, or maybe the sunglasses are straight, but just the nose is crooked, but everyone just assumes that noses are straight, which means that they think that the glasses are crooked. I don't know. To me, it just looks a little off, and I think that's probably just going to be a problem, for the rest of my life until I get my nose fixed. And that's something I believe that having regrets in life is important, if only because they are vehicles for growth, personal growth, physical growth, etc. Well, that's a close one. I'm probably going to pause speaking until this train passes because, well, who knows, maybe you can't understand anything I'm saying. Or maybe this mic is really good and you can hear me. Looking at the recording app now, it looks like when I'm talking, it can, I guess it's being registered a little bit. But, where was I? Oh, here comes another one. They always come in pairs. But what I was saying about regrets is that they're important, because if you live your whole life without having any regrets, what kind of risks did you take? The fact that you have regrets is that, you made a choice. You can make the right choice every single time you have a decision in front of you. Well, that's a big apple. Sorry, someone just dropped an apple on the bridge and forgot about it. Or they didn't forget about it, they dropped it and realized and said, oh, I'm not going to pick this up. Had like 2 bites in it and that was it. A little moldy now. It's been there for a couple days. But one of the regrets I have in my life is when I broke my nose in high school. And I probably have said this on, but I forget what I say these days on the, if I had transcribed all of these podcast episodes and was able to do a search before going on a walk, I would know what not to talk about. But one of the regrets I have is not getting my nose, my deviated septum fixed when I broke my nose in high school in gym class. When the ENT said, when we fix your nose, we could also fix the because I had to go into surgery to break the deviated septum. Or no, I had to go into surgery just to fix the broken nose. I didn't even know my nose was broken until like 3 days. Well, I knew it would hurt. I just didn't know it was broken until like 3 days after I got hit in the nose with someone's elbow. Unintentionally, at least I think unintentionally. But, because when you see broken noses in the media, you see them, if someone breaks their nose, it starts gushing blood and it's like, oh my God, you broke my nose. Something like that. And that didn't happen to me. It just hurt really bad, but no blood or anything. But, it still hurt after 3 days. Went to the doctor and they're like, yeah, just go to the emergency room. Did that. And they confirmed it, got the ENT appointment, et cetera, et cetera. But when I went for the consultation, they said they could fix it. And I was like, nope. And they tried to sell me on, I could breathe better, sleep better, et cetera. But I was like, oh no, I sleep fine. I like the way I breathe. And now as I get into my later years and sleep isn't as easy to come by as it was when I was a teenager. And, it would be nice to breathe out of my nose for once. Who knows what other host of problems it's caused, but that's one regret. So maybe one of these days, I don't know, maybe I don't think having sunglasses look crooked on my face is a medically valid excuse to get a nose job. I don't know how insurance would feel about it. I mean, I know there have been cases where, like, as long as you can kind of breathe through your nose, insurance isn't going to cover it, at least in the U.S. I don't know how these sorts of things are dealt with abroad, but I know American insurance could be a little stingy when it comes to things like that. But who knows? Maybe I just got to get my nose broken, Just got to ask someone just punch me in the face or the nose or, I don't know. I haven't even asked about it. I could probably, next time I go for my general physical next year, I can ask them about whether it's worth inquiring. Excuse me, I'm yawning. I had coffee. After I got off the bike, I was thirsty and like a fool again, I didn't bring water. I had my backpack with me, but I didn't bring water. So I thought, why not just treat myself? So as I was walking on 23rd Street, I passed a coffee place that had a billboard outside that said they had a peppermint cold brew. And I am a sucker for most things peppermint. But when I went in, I wanted to make sure I wasn't just going in because they had the sign out, because then I'd look like a sucker. So then I went into the coffee place and then looked at the menu up and down once or twice, making it seem like I was actually trying to make a decision when I had already made the decision before I walked in the door, and got a peppermint cold brew. So that was my little treat. So yawning now is unacceptable. The last time I had cold brew was a mistake. I went on a first date to a coffee place after work, and I've been, I've said probably before, I've been experimenting with coffee when I need it. But that means that I'm allowing my body to not become accustomed to caffeine, which means that just a little bit can really get me going. And this cold brew I had on that first date was so strong. It took me about, maybe like 10 minutes for it to really kick in. But once it did, like, I've never been jittery before. Like, my foot was tapping. I'm not usually one brimming with energy either, but wow, that was something else. Maybe it's because I usually have it black, and this time, when they asked for milk, they made it sound like it wasn't a choice to not get milk. I don't usually get milk in coffee. I just got skim, so maybe that just watered it down a little bit. But I'm not feeling it as much. But also, the other time I just was drinking and sitting. Where now I was drinking it on the go. I'm walking. I'm still walking. So, I don't know, maybe it's just working its way through my body a little more efficiently than before. But I think I'm going to, well, I guess one more note on the biking. Did I like it? I mean, it wasn't I didn't dislike it, I'll say that. Yeah, because I picked a day that was not as busy. Maybe I didn't get the full riding in New York experience. I'll definitely have to try again on a busier day. And I think now that my sister lives further away from me, and I'm probably still going to be called upon to do dog duty, I probably will try biking to her place during rush hour. So we'll see how that goes. But when push comes to shove, I probably, we'll have to do that before making a decision. So, since I'm going away in a week, I'm not going to may not have many opportunities to bike again before leaving. But the experience wasn't bad. I probably will investigate how to game the system to get the best money value out of the bike, the city bike, going forward. Because eventually, as fun as walking everywhere is, biking might just be a little more efficient in terms of time, energy spent, etc. Walking's still number one, but I think I am at the point where I should be looking into biking. I know that's a depressing note to end a walking podcast on, but I have made it to the end of the bridge. I am now in Brooklyn, officially. I mean, I've been in Brooklyn for probably the last 10-15 minutes, or more, but I'm officially on solid land. And thus, the story of my bridge crossing has ended. Or the story that I was telling as I was crossing. You know what I'm talking about. But I will end also on a positive, not a cliffhanger, but just with a note to stay tuned, because there's some exciting things coming up, which I think I may have mentioned here already. But I will speak no more. Good day and good night.